Business Development Manager for Cloud Services for Digicel in Jamaica. Here today to talk to you around Digicel, our cloud services strategy, what it means for the financial services and capital markets industries in Jamaica and in the Caribbean, and also to give you a little bit of flavour of what's going on globally around it. The title of the presentation is IT Solutions for Positive Returns in Business or on Investments, and there's a subtitle in this called Cloud Computing, Is it a Bull or is it a Bear? So hopefully you'll appreciate the Wall Street analogy there. Just to give you a better idea of what we're talking about, if you look at the global economy and where we are at the moment, it's very much a lot of dramatic forces that are shaping what's going on in our industries. You've got the economy where there's global weakness across the different markets. You've got trust issues in the financial service markets for intertrading and different governmental intertrading with the IMF, etc. You've got the whole regulation. Obviously, Jamaica is very heavily invested through their Financial Services Commission in the regulation of the financial services sector here. Huge global challenges around regulation and how that regulation enables businesses and also restricts business practices. Looking at the existence of capitalization issues in the marketplace. Those capitalization issues can be in terms of banks, in terms of the stock markets themselves, and in terms of economies, in terms of countries, and obviously the World Bank and the IMF's role around that. Obviously competition, and competition is probably one of the great challenges in any economy. Jamaica competes on a global market basis. Jamaican business competes on a global market basis. And what we're going to talk to you about today is how we can help Jamaican business and Caribbean business actually compete more effectively in that global economy. We're going to talk about complexity. Okay? There's a terminology called latency, which is the definition would be the time it takes for a process to actually enact, okay? And we're going to talk about cloud services technology in terms of how it can improve latency, make business processes more effective, more efficient, increase productivity for business and increase productivity for workers. We're also going to talk about how it will actually increase stakeholder value in organizations and enable businesses in the financial services sector and other sectors to actually turn up investment very quickly in terms of geographically locating to different markets. Complexity is what is actually slows business down. If you look at telecommunications and you look at ICT in terms of complexity, one of the trends you will always find as business owners and business leaders is when you're moving into new markets or when you're launching new businesses, etc., your ICT investment is a very substantial part of that ramp up. And the complexity of ICT in some instances actually slows down your business in terms of decision making. It slows down your ability to react to different market forces, and it actually slows down the dissemination of information within your organization. So what Digicel is all about in terms of cloud services is about simplification and making things work simpler for you. We're the ones that will make the communications that will make your business work better. Okay? I'm going to talk to you a little bit in terms of cloud. Just a lot of people in this room, just out of interest, who here knows what cloud is all about? Cloud technology, cloud computing. Who would have an understanding of it? Okay, a few people. In terms of cloud computing, there's a wonderful definition there by the National Standards Institute of America, which is the global definition on cloud. There's a much more simpler approach to what cloud is. Cloud is basically ICT services that you can access over the internet and pay as you go, pay on a monthly basis, rather than having to invest up front. That's what cloud is. That's what Digicel is bringing to Jamaica and has brought for the last 9-10 months, and now is launching throughout our other markets. In terms of where cloud comes from, this is a very good investment chart from a survey by Gartner, who would be a global consulting practice around industry research around ICT, financial services and capital markets. You'll see there in terms of the global trend towards cloud services, it went from number 16 in 2009 to number 2 in 2010. We're obviously now moving into 2012. We would expect that to be moving into the number 1 space and look forward to the next survey of the 1,400 CIOs that Gartner surveyed globally around technology and their purchasing trends. Cloud technologies in terms of revenue, the industry is actually projected to grow from 41 billion US to 214 billion US by 2020. To put it simply, cloud is the new internet. And there's an opportunity for Jamaica, for Jamaican business, and for your Caribbean neighbours to actually be the market makers around this for your region, and thereby realise the spoils of that investment. In terms of cloud, there's a lot of hype around cloud. Digicel, our whole purpose is to make things simple. We obviously want to win your business. We hope we have your trust. We want to enable that further. What I'm here to talk to you about is how we can help your business grow, how we can help your staff work more effectively, and how we can help you realise more sustainable advantage in terms of your day-to-day operations. From our perspective, cloud is velocity for your business. If you look at cloud from the perspective of what actually are the constructs of you ramping up your business, from a financial services perspective, we're talking about instruments that help you actually work and collaborate more effectively. We're talking about the whole interconnection and how cloud technology helps you actually connect with global partners, with your own employees, and with actually government and industry regulation. And we're talking about market intelligence. So from a financial services perspective, you know, those in the industry here all work with different data providers, data feeds. You have your own analytical software. You try and predict what's going to happen in the market in terms of share prices or in terms of the performance of your own business versus best practice in the market. What we're talking about is giving you a series of instruments that will allow you to realise that quicker and faster than your competition. You may already use the cloud. I'll take this up a level. Who here uses Gmail? Who here uses Yahoo Mail? So you already use the cloud. It's a public cloud service. The cloud has been around for a while. It's just going through a mainstream adoption at the moment. Why is that? Because all the technology vendors and all the service providers are all investing in telling you it's the new internet. Therefore, it's in our interest to make sure it is the new internet. So therefore, from a cloud perspective, we are driving adoption in the market. Part of Digicel's strategy, part of our competitor strategy is to educate the market onto cloud and what the opportunity is, because we have done the research on it. We have partnered with our vendor and industry partners, and we believe there's an economic advantage for our customers to participate in this new evolution of the internet with us, and therefore there's an economic advantage in positioning Digicel to be the provider of choice for same. What is cloud perfect for? You have two types of cloud that I'm going to talk to you about today. You've got public cloud, which is accessed by everyone, like Yahoo Mail, Google Mail, etc. Accessed by everyone on shared or pooled resources, okay? Your information is in the cloud, you have secure access to it, but you share all the systems and platforms that everyone else does. Financial services industries of today use the cloud. They use the cloud for conferencing, for collaboration, for data exchange, okay? Trading systems, data feeds from Reuters, Bloomberg, time series databases are all now cloud-based platforms that your CIOs and your technology leaders, for the business leaders in the room, you might be using cloud and you don't even realize you're using cloud, because all these vendors are all moving their services to the cloud. In terms of a private cloud is an ICT cloud service that's just built for you. Only you and your organization has access to it. You share the benefits of the shared platforms, but all your information is stored, secured, and encrypted locally, and only your organization can use it. The benefits around that are cost, and also quicker to turn up a service, quicker to turn down a service where you're entering new or developing markets or pulling out of developing markets. Our competencies around same. What's perfect for that? Security intensive transactions, processing transactions where customer data or your data, where security is of preeminent strategic advantage to you. All of those types of areas are perfect for private cloud. Yes, you pay more than public cloud, but it's like an insurance policy. You know your data is always protected. You know that your business is always protected. You don't have to worry about secure access or loss of data. In terms of a reality check around cloud, how do you make cloud computing real or meaningful to the people in this room? Okay? First is it has to have clear economic value. It has to make sense for you to invest in cloud technology rather than buy and build your own. Okay? Remember, with cloud, it's all about pay as you go and OpEx versus CapEx. So you effectively rent the resource, the ICT resources, and as your business realizes the sustainable business advantage from same on a monthly basis, you pay your service provider for the service. Rather than investing in building your own technology from a capital expense up front, hiring the staff, maintaining the platforms and depreciating it on your books over 5 or 7 years, and therefore leveraging your CapEx investment up front versus when you will potentially get the return. Cloud simplifies all of that. From a technology investment platform for financial service organizations who want to make a major step change in terms of how you simulate data, how you model data, or how you actually buy or invest in different stock market related activities, one of the big impediments to investing in ICT for those type of systems is, one, it takes so much of your cash and your cash flow to invest up front for a business benefit that you might not realize for 2 or 3 years. Secondly, there's huge risk in relation to that because you've bought all this equipment, you've bought all these professional services, you've hired the staff. What if the project fails? You're stuck with it all. With cloud services, you only pay for when the service switches on. What that actually means for you is you only pay for when you actually realize the business benefit, and you have, if there's any issue around service delivery or service performance, you have no investment in it. Therefore, you have no economic loss. So therefore, it insures you against business risk. In terms of integrated and open, it has to have open and integrated standards. It has to be accessible to your organization and usable by your organization. It has to be secure. In terms of global surveys that we have seen in terms of industry research, and indeed research in Jamaica that we have carried out, security is by majority the big concern. Most customers that we survey, 80–90%, when you ask them about cloud services, and once they understand what cloud services actually mean, they cite security, security of their information, security of access, security of their business and business risk. All of those in the realm of the security spectrum as being their concern. So our job as a service provider is to make things secure. Digicel uses 256-bit encryption in our cloud services, which is US military-grade encryption. It is the most secure available commercially in all our cloud services to address that for you. But still, customers have concerns. And customers, such as financial services, like to keep a certain amount of their data in-house so that they can be guaranteed control, risk, and management of same. Cloud will evolve, and cloud will get better at security. Why? Because all the technology sector, the vendors, the HPs, the Microsofts, the IBMs, the service providers such as Digicel have invested so much in cloud that it's our job to make sure it's secure, because otherwise you won't adopt it. So cloud will get there in relation to that. In terms of the designing for simplicity, it has to be simple to use and effective in your organization, and it has to be globally relevant. In terms of business challenges around cloud, in terms of adoption, for an ICT executive or for a CEO in your organization, one of the big challenges you have is investing in technology, realizing that investment. Your CIO is always looking for more money. And as a CEO, you're always saying to your CIO, why am I giving you more money? Why do you continuously need to upgrade this technology? As a technology person, the answer I would give Mark Linehan, for example, in Digicel, if he ever posed that question, which he doesn't, thank God, but if he ever posed that question, would be the business is what drives everything. The business moves forward and ICT tries to keep up with it. So it's actually your business that is driving growth, and ICT investment drives the platforms that support that growth. In terms of that, what ICT will help you do in terms of cloud investment is drive that growth without having to spend upfront for it. Again, realizing sustainable business advantage. In terms of data, organizations are hugely data-centric. Financial services is the most data-centric of all. Risk and modeling software, for example, for any of you that's in that industry sector, is probably one of your biggest purchase expenses in terms of CapEx. The technical staff who actually do the administration and analysis of that software for you, and the data models that come out of it are very highly leveraged individuals who cost a lot of money. Cloud is your opportunity to aggregate that, maybe through a consortium of competitors, so co-opetition, for example, where you team up with your competitors and you aggregate certain business services over the cloud, and you all pay for it and share it into what's called a community cloud, a community of similar interests, thereby cutting down the cost but increasing the business service you get. Why should you consider the cloud? Very much as I've talked about, it's an enabler for your business. It helps drive you forward, and it'll release up valuable cash funds for what should be your core commodity, for your core competency. And your core competency is working in your core business and keeping your customers happy and making money. Not having an email system that is run from in-house, not paying for infrastructure and servers, and not paying IT staff to run those servers and platforms for you, when you can outsource it and typically save 30% by doing so to the cloud. I'm conscious of time here. I have 2 minutes left apparently, so I've been passed a note. Just in terms of that, talk to you about trajectory and cloud risks. In terms of cloud risks, the biggest issue we have with cloud is risk. Okay? What we would say to you as a service provider who's leading the market around cloud technology is very much take a step into the cloud with Digicel, with a service provider you trust. Pick some non-critical or non-core systems. Work with Digicel to put those systems in the cloud. Gain a trust factor and educate your staff in partnership with Digicel around what that means for your business. Realize the economic advantage out of same. And then, as your confidence grows, put more and more of your technology in the cloud. A great step into the cloud is your email system, for example, or your telephony system. All essential to your business, but all not core competencies to your business. In terms of like pros and cons, reduce cost. Resource sharing is more efficient if you aggregate business services even across your industry sector. ICT management moves to the cloud, which means you don't have to pay for that on your wage bill every month. The consumption-based model, which is what cloud is, as opposed to invest and wait for the consumption to happen, and also dynamic allocation and speed to market. Cloud will get you there faster than you can ever get yourself, because we're just turning up a service that's already built, as opposed to you having to build a bespoke service. What's the cons? Why not cloud for the financial services sector? Regulation and the regulator, okay? Will they, you get a lot of concerns from financial services. The regulator won't let us move to the cloud. The regulator is there to regulate an industry sector. If you as the industry sector want to move to the cloud, you have the opportunity to be the market maker and to realize that business advantage ahead of your sector. The regulator is always accommodatory, where you're saving money, you're making money, and it makes business sense. Other issues around bandwidth and latency. I have a good slide that I'll show you just when I'm closing off here, which is very shortly, sir, which is around, this is the actual time of the mobile service provider. Digicel, mobile service provider of the premier brand in the Caribbean. In 2011, mobile smartphones, so smartphone devices, actually increased above PC sales for the first time ever. So people are accessing their data more and more via the smartphone. Cloud technologies, because cloud is mobile, will allow you to realize that benefit and push your technology to any device over our 4G network, which is of the similar ilk to a fibre network in terms of the speeds you will get out of it when you're on the road, etc., or home broadband. So the mobile service provider is very much coming to the fore. I'm going to close off now because I'm out of time. So what I'd like you to do is just invite you to talk to our cloud experts. How I'll describe cloud to you is cloud is like chocolate. It's an experience. So go over and experience it rather than having me talking to you about it. Okay? Thank you very much.